Boom. Good people of the interwebs. This is Kevin Orosz, your host. Welcome back to the KO Show. I believe this is episode 7, and we're going to be diving in on some cool stuff today I haven't really talked about in depth. This will be the creativity and business episode, the value episode about commerce and entrepreneurship and being an artist, being a builder, being a founder, being a coach, teacher, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'll just kind of share some of my philosophy and just talk about it in general, conceptually, because I think it's very fascinating, something I've been obsessed with for a long time. Now, quickly, if you haven't already, it means a lot if you hit the follow or subscribe button. Ring that bell if you want notifications of new episode drops. There will be many. And reviews, an honest review, a comment, it goes a long way. As many of you will know, starting a new podcast. Do the things and stuff for your boy. If you don't mind, I'd appreciate it. As you can see, it's another solo cast. I'm just talking about, I'm speed running all of my interests so far on this show and just going in depth on all of them. It's conversational. As you can see, I have no notes. It's a conversation with myself, obviously, but you're kind of the silent partner in this conversation. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about creativity. So let's get a couple things out of the way. Number one, let's define creativity as far as I define it. Creativity is simply, for me, it's a beingness. It's the act of creation. So if you create something, honestly, speaking is kind of creativity, because the way I'm speaking right now in this specific word pattern has never been done, right? So you can get into the weeds with all that. On the macro scale, it's just, can you think of something and then bring it into the world in a new way? Even if it's already been done, which, as King Solomon says, there's nothing new under the sun. And there's many people that would argue there's no such thing as raw, new novelty or creativity, because everything that we can create is based on our past experience and knowledge. Now, again, that's the material level. I believe when we create, we can pull from our imagination in the future as well, things that don't exist yet. And you can get into some of the woo around, is there an Akashic records? Or, Jung talked about the collective unconscious. So there's, Peterson talks a lot about this, who of course is standing on the shoulders of giants like Campbell and Jung. Joseph Campbell talks about this. All cultures have like a series of symbols or stories or archetypes that are pre-existing and are pulled from the ether. Like we can all access them in dreams and visions and altered states and creativity and deep work. And then we remix them like a DJ and we can create a bunch of new dope stuff. Books, movies, films, paintings, artwork, love letters, sculptures, words, songs, sonnets, all of it. So that's how I kind of think about it and define it. Now, I also believe everybody is creative. Like, even if you're a carpenter, you're a gardener, you're a single mom, you're a founder of a Fortune 500 company, everybody's creative to some degree. Now, there are those that are born with more gifts than others, of course. Everybody has a different gift. I think everybody is gifted. One of the hard things in life that I end up, doing a lot in my coaching practice is helping people discover that. And keyword helping and supporting, because no one can discover it for you. You have to do the heavy lifting there as a creative, as a thinker, as a doer, as a builder. Everybody's creative. Most people, though, and raise your hand if this is you, don't identify as a creative because they think, oh, the creative people are the actors I'm watching on screen, or my favorite music artist that wrote that song I love, or the architect or the artist that's being featured in a museum or building a building. Those are creative people. I'm not creative. I can't draw, paint, sing. I can't play an instrument. That's a limited, culturally conditioned view of creativity, I think. Yes, there are hyper-creative people. Yes, there's a creative industry. Much of the media entertainment industry is built on professional creativity. And the money men, have come in and control the record labels and the recording studios and all this stuff. And there's a business around it. So young artists and creatives are groomed and created into these images. and then sold to us and packaged through mainstream media. That's just one little slice, though. So the other creative area, which ties into today's other topic, business or entrepreneurship. Business itself is a creative act and is a creative process. Which, side note, a lot of my thinking in this episode is informed by a few key works. One is The Artist's Way, incredible book if you haven't heard of it. That's kind of a workbook as a creative person to get into writing, thinking creatively, starting to create things. The other one is Rick Rubin's The Creative Act. Incredible, right? There's a bunch of other ones, but those are the most like topical, definitely the best recommendations I can give you that speak about the philosophy and the practice, because it is a practice of being creative. Now, everybody's creative. Not everybody creates, though. So that's the thing. You have to make the conscious choice and step into the unknown, because if you're going to create something new, even if it's a rehash or remix of something you saw on TV or in a movie or in a book, or it's your past life memory or the Akashic records, the halls of Amenti, whatever story you tell about it. Let's say it's the same thing, just in new skin, right? Jung had this saying that we're serving, old wine in new wineskins. Or you could reverse it. We're serving new fresh wine in old wineskins, right? It's just the idea that nothing is new. All human activity and imagination kind of already exists in a sense as thought forms or like platonic ideals or something. But then our filter, it's kind of like a stained glass window. If the light shines in from the sun, each panel of the stained glass refracts it in a different pattern, a different color. That's all humans. So our imagination and creative process bring in the old stuff or the new stuff with quotes, and bring it in and forth in a new way. It's a remix. Remix, another one. It's a remix. And that's still creative. And some people get paid a lot of money and solve amazing problems and add value with their new creative remix or thing. Now, to do that, again, you have to step into the unknown. Often you have to take risks. You have to be willing to be stupid or a fool. You have to be willing to be rejected. You have to be willing to have nobody like it, like you like it. And this is one of Rick Rubin's things. Again, Rick Rubin is this next level producer. He's produced the Chili Peppers, Jay-Z. He's like a Yoda kind of guy in the music industry, but he also is a philosopher, writer. And he talks about, when you're creating something, you should create it just for you. There's this whole thing that happens on social media with brands, with visions, with all these thought leaders, where they get into something called audience capture, where because they had a greatest hit, a hit single, or a great course or program or product or service, they then are captured by their audience because they think the only way to keep getting love, aka money, attention, clicks, is to do what the audience wants. And then they lose the plot. They start creating slop. Which, side note, everyone's worried about AI slop. What about human slop? There's a lot of that shit. And it existed long before Chat GBB and GPT and GPC and all this bullshit. Audience capture is no good. Now, product market fit and speaking to your audience is important, and you need to be sensitive and listen to what they tell you want and what they're voting on with their attention, their likes, their comments, their dollars, etc. That's more on the business side. But for the pure creative process, Rubin talks a lot about this. You should be creating something that just you like and that you want to exist in the world. And if you do that at the deepest level with intention, with heart, with hard work, with iteration, which you're going to be in your workshop, in your office, on your laptop, on the canvas, just going over it again and again. If you do it at such a level that you truly love it, a lot of other people will end up loving it, probably. Because what's most personal is most universal. And when you truly love something and give it the high touch and care and thought process, there's a good chance there's a lot of people, probably 100 or 1,000 or a lot more, that had the same wish or desire you did. And if you can bring it into the world in such a way they can recognize it, they will want to team up with you, collaborate with you, and pay you to experience it or get value from it. That's kind of the creative economy, right? We're in a creator economy now. I keep hearing about this creator economy. They say it's highly creative. Some might say there's nobody who knows creativity better than me. It's one of those creative processes. Trump is creative. Love him or hate him. You see where I'm going with this. Like, it's democratization of creativity and the human imagination. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for the new Renaissance. I'm a Renaissance man. I love this shit. I was told endlessly as a kid that I was gifted and creative and I should do this and that. And all my teachers and my parents and these other adults were telling me all this shit. And I kind of rejected that and was like, well, how do you know? Just because I wrote this little short story or I drew something. Which, side note, not to toot my own horn, it's kind of crazy. I even forget this. I don't know if I've ever shared this online. When I was in first grade, so what is that? I'm like 7 or 8 years old or something. What is first grade? Maybe 9 or 10. I don't even fucking know what age the grades are anymore because it doesn't matter. The public school system's a joke, by the way. It's not good. It's an industrial system that conditions you to the sound of a bell, and it's set up like a prison to condition you to be a good worker. And it was built by the fucking Rothschild family and all these fuckers. Like, the public education system in America, I know it's different in other countries, is a nightmare zone. It's a fucking nightmare zone, man. Anyway, my kids will not be going to public school unless they absolutely want to for some compelling reason. And even then, I might just say, dad law, no way. It's terrible. But that's a little quick commercial break for you. So I was in first grade. There was a writing contest for a creative short story. And my story not only won in my entire elementary school, it won at the state level in Texas, where I traveled with my parents with all the other winners here to Austin, Texas. I was living in Houston, the capital of Texas. And I got awarded in this big award ceremony for this creative thing. Just so crazy. I forget that happened. And as a kid, it was like, I didn't think it was a big deal. I was just like, cool, we get to travel and look at all these other kids. And the story was about a boy who finds a magic treasure chest, like hidden in his closet, that had a key in it with a map. It's like a treasure story. And it was this kind of like fantastical adventure. Very simple. And if I read it now, it probably sucks. But anyway, that happened. So that maybe is why I wanted to become an author, and I'm now an author. You can check out my book on Amazon. And then another time, it was a drawing contest, similar. And it was draw a fantastical creature, like a hybrid of different animals. And I drew basically, it was like a combination between a lizard, an alligator, and a dragon. And it looked kind of stupid, but like it had clean lines. And, for a little kid, again, I was in first or second grade, it was decent. And I won not only in my school, at the like city level, I think, in all of the wider Houston area. And my little creature got put on a billboard in my hometown and nearby towns. It's fucking crazy. So anyway, because of that, I was told endlessly, you're gifted, you're creative, you should do creative stuff. You have a career as an artist or a creative person, which I rejected all that as I grew up. I was like, what are you talking about? You don't know shit about me. This is like a silly, arbitrary contest. And I'm sure there's many of these people end up being my clients because like attracts like. You were in gifted and talented programs. You were in AP classes in high school, advanced placement. You were told you were gifted. You were diagnosed with ADHD, ADD, ADH3B, CKey, TD, all these fucking made up bullshit by these lab coats. And you're neurodivergent, right? So your attention works differently. Your brain works differently. It's wired differently. And that makes you hyper creative, but probably also disorganized, creates weird attachment style stuff. It's fucking terrible for attention span and blah, 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 blah. So if that's you, they weren't entirely wrong. You're built a little different, I guess. Many of us are built different because we all have different gifts. There are people that are born with creative talents. There are born musicians. There are born singers. There's born artists and authors. There's born speakers. There are born athletes. I'd see athletics at a very high level is a very creative thing. Go watch Roger Federer play or LeBron James, Michael Jordan. Their physicality and proprioception, athletic prowess is like a work of art. It's like Michelangelo on a canvas. That's some of that is inborn and innate. So you're born with it. So your job is to figure out what you were born with. It may not fall into any of the categories I've discussed so far, but it's still creative. Other people weren't born with the gifts, but through 10,000 hours, 50,000 hours, repetition, willpower, and desire, they trained incessantly to develop them. And because our brains are neuroplastic, and you can literally rewrite your brain physically, by the way, neural pathways grow and neurons talk to each other and grow dendritic, synapse paths into each other. The cells can literally change, and this is all being studied. This is not woo. And then the thoughts and belief layer in your subconscious mind, which, isn't physical matter, can also be reprogrammed. So therefore, everyone can be highly creative, whether you were born with gifts and you nurture them. Side note, many of those gifted kids neglected their gifts, myself included, until later in life when they were rediscovered. Others, because of a desire, like, I want to be just like Taylor Swift and be a super pop star and inspire a whole new generation of preteen girls. I think Taylor Swift is dog shit. There's many Swifties that may be watching the podcast, so I apologize. It's a silly example, but you may have watched an athlete, an artist, a performer, and been like, I want to do that no matter what. And so you start training. And that's incredible. And some people make it their career. Coding, programming languages, software, that's a creative act. Code is now running most of, what you're watching right now. Code has become one of the largest creative domains of all time. And then if you pop into Claude Code or ChatGPT Codex, you can now have robots and AI agents writing code with you in real time and bring any app or software or website or vision or SaaS you can imagine into reality without knowing how to code. It's a pretty incredible time we're living in. We are living in a creative bull run. It's easier than it's ever been to create something and share it online. And so I was watching this pretty incredible AI influencer. He was also in crypto on Twitter, on X. And he was sharing, the most I've been teaching it for years, about 10 years now, business coaching for 13, but I didn't start like coaching creatives or business people until a little bit into that process because I had to figure out my own shit for the first 3 to 5 years. This is kind of the formula, which he was talking about in his own words. I'll share it in my own words. It's just fresh in my brain. So I listened to all of it last night. The basic idea here, if you want to get paid to be creative, you need to create dope shit. You need to build cool things or do cool things. Side note, this can all be experiential. This could all be event-based in real life. This could be something physical and tangible, like building physical things. It could also all be digital or artistic and online. You need to do that, and then you need to tell people about it and share it. And then the third part of the formula is you need to listen to the feedback and adjust accordingly. That little process, build and create cool shit. Tell people about it. Listen to their feedback. Build and create cool shit. Tell more people. And that is the 3-step process. Clip it. It's simple. It's duh. We all know it. Every coach and online influencer worth their salt is doing this, whether they know it or not. And the ones that know it have been teaching this for probably damn near 20 years since the internet first popped off and the apps and software and brands we know and love are all out there. It's pretty simple. But it might take 1,000 at-bats to get one person to give you feedback. It might take 100 posts or videos or 100 songs published. Hopefully it doesn't take that many, but most people give up way before they break through. It's like that meme where the guy's in a mine, there's rocks everywhere, just shit, just dirt and rocks. And he's chipping away with a pickaxe, chipping away. And we can see as the viewer that just beyond where he gave up, there's a massive diamond mine or gold mine. And he gets all the way close to it. He's all sweaty. He thinks he's unlovable. No one cares about what he's doing. And he walks out of the mine. If he had just kept going a little further, he would have broken through to the first big aha moment or big sale or big creative moment where people appreciate it and will pay you to be a part of your creative process or use your product or service or just enjoy your entertainment and information. So most people give up because it is thankless. If you right now out of college are just like, I'm going to be an artist. Well, that's why all the boomers are like, good luck working at Starbucks, you damn hippie. Liberal arts education ain't worth shit. You should go be an electrician. You should be a doctor. You should be a lawyer. Blah, 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 blah. Like, this is the bullshit that our culture has created, which isn't new, by the way. This goes back hundreds, if not thousands of years, to the starving artist archetype. So many artists ended up needing patrons because no one will pay them to be an artist. People pay you to farm food. People pay you to be a bodyguard or man-at-arms or a knight. People pay you to dig holes. People will pay you to build things, do commerce, be a merchant. People won't pay you as an artist. And again, I'm talking about like the more direct versions of art. Like you want to write and perform a play. You want to make music. Because of the normal distribution, and this applies to all art and business. Y'all know the normal distribution, right? It's a big bell curve. On the low end, which is very small, is people who never even get started, right? And then in the mid, it goes up by percentage and a bunch of people started and da-da-da. And then as you get to the right-hand tail on the very bottom, now you have 98, 95% of the music, creative, artistic industry for the creatives who are making all the money. Because art is about taste and creativity is about taste. So the marketplace, people who will watch your movie, consume your content, buy your products, listen to your music, the best win out. It is brutal and it's competitive because we live in a capitalistic money market system. Maybe in a perfect utopian world, everybody just gets a universal high income and you can just create all day, even if it's dog shit. I don't know. Maybe robots and AI will create that university and lifestyle in our lifetimes. Who knows? Now, because it takes so many hours and at-bats to do the thing or make the stuff and then get people to like it and give you feedback and then share about it and make more, most people give up and they create a story or a belief. I'm not creative. No one cares about what I create, or I don't have good ideas. I'll just get a job at some insurance company and I'll never do it again. How many people have been there? Many of the clients I work with are creatives. So it's funny. I've worked with corporate type people. I've worked with people that are just doing more like brick and mortar or like normal business niches, like real estate, like human resources, like sales or marketing at a normal company where they have a 9-to-5 job. And those people are amazing. I actually love working with them because some of the stuff I take for granted and share on the show to them is a revelation and we get to work through it together. And I love it. It's very rewarding, actually. But most of my clients, well over 50, 60% are like me, where they're creative people. They're coaches, they're teachers. I've worked with a lot of artists. I've worked with yoga teachers, personal trainers. I've worked with digital marketers, people in sales selling incredible healing packages, B2B and B2C types of companies and brands that do everything from personal development, health and wellness, from relationships, sexuality, intimacy, to business coaching and creativity and content marketing and everything in between. All of these people are in this battle every single day that I'm describing, where their business or brand depends on their creativity. It's not optional. Yes, you can outsource it. You can hire creative people to work for you and with you, but you're still the visionary CEO. So this creative act process, little flywheel I described, is your whole life. And guess what? My experience of working with these people and my own experience of my own version of all this is if your emotions aren't in it, as in there's not passion and well-being and spiritual, emotional health and flow, it's very hard to create. You can't force it. And for many people, they have seasons where they feel prolific and creative and they produce a lot and they make a lot of money or get a lot of like attention and energy. And then they have a season where they're just bleh, burnt out, tired, not creative, not creating a lot, confused about what to do next. They need to take a break. They need to touch grass, get off the screens, get out in front of the camera, put the camera away, put the mic away. I've gone through many of these seasons myself. You're seeing right now, this show is me exploding out of a season where I didn't do a lot of stuff like this for a long time. That ebb and flow is the whole game right there. That process of being consistent even when you don't feel like it, is what separates the 6-7-figure creatives and business people from the people who are in the feast and famine cycle. And the best people that I've worked with and seen myself, and many of these are also friends and colleagues that run personal brands or businesses, they have systems in place and support networks, mentors, men or women circles, creative masterminds, events, deal flow, people in their lives to carry them through and support them through those seasons of famine before the creative feast and the muse returns, right? Or they've created so much that they can automate and batch all that so they can ride through the seasons where they're not producing something. And many artists will know this, again, specifically like a musician or a painter or, sketch artist. You're not going to just be able to create album after album or huge painting after painting. It's an ebb and flow. It's a very mysterious process that has to do with your unconscious, paying attention to your dreams, voice note dumping, journaling a lot, spending time in nature, spending time in silence, spending time traveling or talking to other creative people to stimulate your ideas and bring the muse into your life. But again, that all works for business too. It's pretty incredible. And again, if you don't think you're creative, I have an experiment for you. Sit down, set a timer for 20 minutes, pop open your laptop, open a blank page in your journal, grab a marker, a pencil, type away, or voice note if you're digital, and try to say as many ideas of creative new things that have been hanging out in your brain, maybe for years, as you can until the timer runs out. And just keep writing, even if it's stupid. A rubber ducky with devil horns, a dog collar that has treats built into it that are time released. Just like the stupidest, most random inventions, ideas, artwork, creativity as you can. And what you'll find is if you go the full 20 minutes, by minute 20, when the timer goes off, you'll not only feel better because you'll have broken through whatever resistance and story by just doing. If you read back that list or look at it, there's 1 or 2 things in there that are amazing that you could actually do and incorporate into your business brand or just as a hobby side project and completely release it from needing the marketplace to vote on it or whatever. And obviously that's a practice you can repeat as many times as necessary and / deepen it at a crazy level. Most people don't realize how much just by observing reality and doing day-to-day life. I wake up, I kiss my wife, I go to work, I drive downtown, I go to the gym, I go to watch a movie, I watch my favorite Netflix show, I read a book, I listen to a conversation at a coffee shop. Your subconscious and unconscious records everything. Now, our conscious brain can only access certain pieces of it, and usually we're running in patterns. We're running on autopilot. Underneath the surface of your prefrontal cortex is kind of running the show and all this other stuff in your brain / in your heart and body. Remember, the nervous system's distributed. It's not just all above the neck and between your ears and your noggin. There's all kinds of stuff going on in here. It's a somatic mystery. The body is where all this is happening. It's not happening way out there in some mystical place. Although it's kind of both and, because there's, in a sense, the mind is beyond the body and you can go forwards and backwards in time. You can go into the collective unconscious, these imagos and images and impressions and symbols that are rich in humanity. Which, side note, this is why I love reading history so much and why I love reading old books or watching old movies or looking at very old artwork. Because their ideas were untouched by the advent of technology as we understand it, this digital, omnipresent clusterfuck we call the internet. And yet the themes, the refrains, the symbols, the rhymes, the language, the imagery, the colors, all have a through line to what we're seeing today on the big silver screen or on Netflix or in the book that just came out this week and is a New York Times bestseller. It's all part of the same human project of creativity, of bringing spirit into matter or elucidating and articulating the human collective dream, which I believe is one of the good, the true, and the beautiful. I think those are very important, back to the Pythagorean and Platonic school. I think it's all the same project. And everything you see in human reality, all buildings, projects, companies, love affairs, wars, tragedies, triumphs, they're all part of this one tapestry and story. And if we were created in the image of God or a creator, guess what? He or she is creative. So we are too. And everything we need, all the biggest problems, solving world hunger, ending poverty, curing all disease, renewing the earth and living in harmony with plants and animals so everybody has more than enough to eat and everyone's healthy and lives a long time and is filled with beauty and love and happiness and fulfillment and can have children and propagate and be fruitful and multiply. All of those problems have creative solutions. I don't know if people actually realize this or think about it. There's an amazing quote. Someone can look it up. There are no political solutions. There are only technological solutions. Technology, technique is creativity manifest in tools and things. We think of technology as just these machines, but painting is a technology. Storytelling is a technology. Dance is a technology. Drumming, syncopated rhythm, trance, breath, altered states navigation, all the craziest like kind of fringe stuff you can think. These are all technologies. And all the solutions are available. Our human creative potential and wealth is damn near limitless because each human can create so much. And there's 8 billion of us running around on this fucking rock hurtling through space. So why do we have all these problems? Well, back to consistency and back to implementation and execution and substantiating the imagination. Well, you got to have capital. And sometimes you got to have materials, you got to have resources, and you got to have coordination of humans to get the thing done and build it and do it at scale and distribute it. That's all the bottlenecks. The bottleneck's not creativity and imagination, although some people seem to think it is. Like, oh, we're out of good ideas. We ran out. We ran out of good ideas. We're fucked, guys. Let's just keep doing business as usual and perpetuate human suffering at scale. What the fuck are we talking about? I believe we haven't even begun to tap into what's possible with creative solutions on planet Earth, on Gaia. So anyway, that's a poetic rant and riff. Moving back into the practical, let's talk business. So did you know that where we're sitting right now, as of time of recording, it's May 2026, the year of our Lord 2026. 2026 AD is where you find yourselves right now in the month of May. It has never been easier to get paid to be creative because of these little things. Ever seen one of these? A little smartphone action, your laptop, your iPad, whatever the fuck, your Google glasses, whatever you're watching this or listening to this on, just so you know, you're carrying around in your pocket or in your home office a supercomputer with the sum total of human knowledge and the ability to remix all that human knowledge through your brain and heart and body and fingers and voice and eyeballs into something incredibly new that's never been seen or done. And then to show it to all your friends and people you know online, get feedback, and build a brand or business around it. Whether you're in corporate and you're working 50-hour weeks, whether you are a young buck who's watching this and is like, fuck, man, I want to build a personal brand. I want to start coaching. I want to start selling digital products. I want to make an AI native design agency. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to make music and get paid on Bandcamp. Whatever it is. It's never been easier to do it. Now we're back at the same impasse from before. Are you willing to make 1,000 pieces of art or create something, a product or service, and have nobody see it or care? Are you willing to cold call people? Are you willing to stay up late and fuck around inside your computer terminal or with an open notebook and a pen and throw away pieces of paper and get frustrated and make iterations and make shit and then realize it's shit and feel bad and then start over and then make something a little cooler, but then you realize it's shit and then you throw it away and start over? And do that long enough to build network effect and start to get ROI, return on your investment, which at the beginning is just time, by the way. All the things I'm saying you can do for free. Now you can pay to do them faster or better, but it's all free. No money, overhead, $0. Return on investment would be, oh, I can sell this and make money. I can market this and people will pay me to share in my creative bounty and boon. And then ripple of impact, another ROI. I'm going to make the world better and add value, which, by the way, this is on the business side. When I work with clients who are business people who want to make more money and do it in a good way without burning out and increase human flourishing, not human suffering. Side note, I'm not going to work with someone who's increasing human suffering. Your business can be based on making money by adding so much value that you make the world a better place. Side note, all the people you look up to and love, some of the GOATs like Tony Robbins or, pick your guy, this is what they're doing. And it's incredible. Business is just a game of if you create value, and value has many definitions. Can you make someone more money? Can you help someone lose weight? Can you help someone go on an amazing date and find their soulmate? Can you solve a problem for someone in their business? Can you save someone time? Can you save someone money? Can you create inspiration and impact and emotionally cleanse someone or help them heal? Can you give someone new ideas and inspire them? That's all value. The only way you're going to get paid in business is if you're creating so much value, at first for free, that people will pay you to get more of that value or get more access to it. This is the idea of access abundance versus like physical abundance, which is, hey, if you do this thing, you'll get more money, right? Some people want access to being in your field or your magnetic architecture, whether this is a membership or a coaching package, or they want to have access to your services or your brick and mortar or whatever. There's so many ways to go into this. I'm just doing broad brushstrokes here. But the point I'm driving home is if you're not, let's say you want to do this, what I'm saying, I'm assuming you are, or even if you're not, this is cool for you to think about. If I did do something like this, what would I do? Maybe I should listen to Kev and what he's babbling about. You're going to have to create so much value that people will eventually pay you for it. No matter what it is. It could be ephemeral. It could be brass tacks. And furthermore, if you help people feel better or solve real problems at a level higher than what they're currently in relationship with or have access to, they'll pay you for that. Business is about creating value, but it's also about solving problems. It's about creating solutions. And you got 3 major buckets. You got health, wealth, and relationships. And then I would argue everything else flows out from those, and there's a million different niches, right? Probably 1 billion. Now, a lot of this game in business has to start from first principles, in my opinion. This is what I would do with a client. If you reached out to me and we wanted to work together and you're running a brand or business, well before we start doing an audit on your ad spend or like your sales and marketing strategy or your script for a sales or enrollment call or your social media content marketing. All that stuff's important and we can do it, but we got to go back to the drawing board and first principles, which is, I didn't come up with this stuff. I'm remixing and creating what I've learned from amazing mentors and damn near 20 years now of just binging and consuming personal development, business, entrepreneurship, technology, all this stuff. You got to start with your 3 pillars: mission, vision, and values. Classic. You've probably heard it before. Your mission is your expressed mission in the world with what you're doing. If you have a business, you should have a brand mission or a mission statement that encapsulates what it is you're here to do. Your vision is where you're going, where you're headed. Big vision statements are who am I, where am I going, and who's coming with me. This is very important. And then your values. What are your core values? What are the core values that you have substantiated and stand by that's in the DNA of your brand, business, or whatever? And again, this could apply to someone who's a CMO in a corporate company who's committed and a career man and they want to go all in. This could also work for a coach who just created an Instagram profile for the first time and has identified their ideal client avatar, their ICA, and wants to start creating the whole gamut and the scale. Mission, vision, values is key. And then I've mentioned in other episodes, then we'll do an audit on your EMIT acronym, time spelled backwards, energy, money, intention, and time. Where are you at with those? How much you have to spend, what's scarce, what's abundant. We got to get everything out in front of us and figure out what's going on. And then, and only then, do we get all fancy with, well, what is a business? Creating and building dope shit, telling people about it, and then receiving and listening to their feedback. And then the flywheel starts. You guys know what a flywheel is. It's like a little thing that spins in the wind. Once it has momentum and those 3 steps are flowing, it forms a flywheel and creates momentum. And then you're off to the races. Now, some practical things, and I was speaking with a client literally yesterday about this and voice noting 3 others this week. At the beginning, right now I'm cooking with AI and doing like AI native builds, helping companies go AI native, teaching agentic and multi-agentic workflows and architecture. And, I've already done multiple AI episodes. So if you're here listening, I'm assuming you listen to those. I'm going crazy with this right now, online and here in Austin. I'm geeking out. Let's say you want to found something with AI, which is so hot right now, by the way. At the beginning, and this goes for any, solopreneur, brand, personal brand, blah, 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 blah. And honestly, it goes for anything in a functioning business who's starting a new product launch or a new funnel of some kind. The gold standard at the beginning is just create one offer. Just create one product, one service, whatever it is. Don't do 50 at once. Capture all of them, which, side note, another best practice is have an idea box, have a dedicated document or something, a voice note box where you just capture ideas. You're at the gym. Oh, that's a good idea. Capture it. You're out on a walk with your wife. Capture it. You're watching your dog take a shit and listening to bird song and you zone out. Oh, that's a cool idea. Capture it. So you need to put those all in a box, but pick one that's the most interesting and powerful to you right now that you believe people would get value from, and go with that one first. And at minimum, do a 30-day sprint, probably a 90-day sprint. And what you're going to do is you're going to flesh out that offer in detail, or product or whatever it is, service, figure out what it is, who's it for, what problem does it solve, and what is your unique methodology or DNA around it. And then potentially at the beginning, you're going to get people to use it or buy it as in work with it for free in exchange for testimonials and referrals. And my boy Sarge here knows all about this. He's actually got a brand called Sarge's Chicken Bites, which are delicious raw chicken dog food treats. Just kidding. It's not true at all, but it should be. Testimonials and referrals are your gold standard. Again, this is a little more heavily on the solopreneur, entrepreneur side. Although, again, anyone in an established company or a corporation, it's about the hands you shake, not the deals you make. Networking and referrals as a network effect is incredible, and testimonials are as well. Now, do that for 3 to 5 people. Endlessly create content, storytell. There's many schools of thought with creating content or content marketing. One is just go straight to problem solution storytelling about it. Another one is just document your process. This is, Gary Vaynerchuk, another one of the GOATs who I've learned so much from, talks a lot about this. Check out Gary V if you haven't heard of him. You just document your process. This is what I thought about. This is what I'm creating. A little slice of life stuff, B-roll, articles, blogs, podcasts, Instagram reels, YouTube videos, Social media has democratized marketing at a level where pre-social media, you had to put an ad on the radio or TV, book a billboard, hand out pamphlets, send letters in the mail. This is the incredible world we're living in right now, where the small creators and the creator economy, anyone can do this, to the point where there's single moms right now, or stay-at-home moms, or whatever, who are making like $50K a month because they've made a little niche online business where they print out stickers or they do some kind of Pinterest board audit and mail you like a little, It's crazy what people have done on the internet. Like if you ever are bored, go on the internet, do a little keyword search in something you're interested in, and go, I call it like funnel surfing or brand surfing. Go find 10 brands doing something in your niche or idea based on the keywords. Google Trends is a really good place to go, by the way, because you can just use Google to search keywords and search trends and like the adjacent keywords and just kind of surf this stuff. And funnel surfing or brand surfing is go to their page or find their content, click through, find a link, sign up for their email newsletter, check out that email, click the offer, watch their course, get that, and then keep going until you hit a paywall and surf through their whole process. It's amazing market research for you, for your process. A lot of people, myself included, this is actually a big one. They basically build in the dark. So all their shit is, because I don't want to be rejected, or is this even good? Am I worthy of love? Will people like this? They hide it and they build in stealth and they just don't tell anyone. They don't share it. They perfect it. They obsess over it. Oh, these people are going to love this so much. And then they finally release and launch it to the world and crickets. Nobody gives a shit. I've done it so many times. It's heartbreaking. It's even more heartbreaking if it's like very near and dear to your heart and like you have a lot of passion and like you have a lot riding on it emotionally. Guess what? The market, which is based on attention now and clicks, and obviously the market of money, people are voting with attention and dollars. I actually have moved away from that. And this is what I'm teaching now to clients and programs I'm running. You need to ship it sooner. You need to get out into the open and build in real time with an audience, voting with their feedback and attention and potentially dollars to beta test, to get market visibility on it, because you don't know what you don't know. And to get product market fit, it's actually better to build in the open for a lot of things. There's some things that don't, because if you're in a hyper competitive niche, if you build in the open, a competitor with more resources will steal what you got and ship it faster. So again, there's nuances here. If you're in that thing and you're listening to this, you already know all that and you probably have figured that out. Build in the open is really powerful in documenting your journey because you can ship faster to failure. This is a classic principle that you hear on every podcast, but it's true. And I've started to really, in this season of life, the past 6-ish months, think about and implement a lot more. If you knew, like fate or God or an angel came down, a goddess appeared before you and said, you are 6 failures away from breaking through and creating financial freedom for your family or creating the hit creative process and audience that you want. Doesn't need to be about money. You're 6 failures away, as in 6 entire creative processes, launches, and acts of this creativity. How fast would you want to fail? It's kind of profound, right? Because if you're 6 away, if you didn't know that, you might be on, first one fails, you put 6 months into it, you poured all this time and energy, nobody cares, nobody bought it, nobody downloaded it, whatever. Then you start the next one, then you burn out. You only had 4 more to go to make it. How would that change your process and how you think about this stuff, right? It's incredible to imagine how many Mozarts, how many Beethovens, Michelangelos went to the grave, how many geniuses never created because they got bogged down with failure. They burned out. They lost willpower. They lost perspective. They lost the plot. Probably millions over the course of human history. Genius is rare. And there's a lot of people. You don't have to be fucking Michelangelo. You can do this too. And how do I know that? I'm an ordinary man. I don't have superpowers. I don't have any advantages over you overall, in general, accounting for idiosyncrasies. And I've done it and I'm doing it. You're watching me do it with this podcast. So if I can do it, you can do it. Like it's not that crazy. I'm not even at the top of my game, I'm still struggling with this stuff myself and trying to figure it out. And I'm afraid of failure and I don't want to be rejected. I want to be seen by my peers as a creative, cool person. And I want to make a lot of money so I can support my family and bring my vision into the world. And I struggle with it every day. Like anyone who knows, if you're building or creating, this is a constant struggle, The War of Art, an incredible book about this. The Artist Way talks about this. Rick Rubin, The Creative Act, talks about this. Which is where, and again, this was a really powerful client conversation I was having. You kind of have to eventually become process-oriented over goal-oriented. This is one of the craziest things I've seen in my coaching career. Probably the 3 clients who've paid me the most money, multiple 5-figure packages, flew out around the world with me to do in-person immersions and like basically a private retreat, full audit and rebrand and like psycho-spiritual support about their marriage and their work and their business and their personal fears and doubts. All of these people, although they'd achieved insane success, they'd made more money than I've ever seen in my life. When they got to the finish line and created the thing and did it, guess what? Not only did they not feel better, some of them felt worse. They still felt isolated, lonely, like no one understood them. Their relationships were failing. They're staying up at night, falling into addiction, worried, doubting, in pain. So I hate to break it to you, and I'm sure if you look back on your life, you'll apply this in your own life to goals you've hit that you obsessed over for years and were like, if I only did this thing, then I'll be lovable and worthy of love and everything else will be solved. Well, got news for you. I know how it works. You got to fall in love with the process. And this is where discipline does equal freedom. Not because discipline is just some special, awesome thing in and of itself. I did the cold plunge. I ate the raw steak. I did the thing. I worked with the coach. Look at me. Look at me. Instagram. Look at me. Discipline. It's trendy. There's a bunch of productivity and discipline porn out there, which again, David Goggins, Jocko Willink, Joe Rogan. These are some of my goats. I love their stuff and they're all about this. And I think men in particular and the masculine experience thrives in this, but that ain't it. That's just part of this picture I'm painting, because discipline itself isn't enough. We create discipline, routine, and consistency with being creative and in business, not because it's some magical secret sauce, but because every day without discipline, you have to renegotiate structure from first principles. And that takes a lot of dopamine. That takes a lot of willpower. Do y'all realize they've studied this? I don't know the exact number. You only have so many powerful decisions you can physically make a day. It varies between person. Of course, a super fit, attractive, funny, dialed in, healthy person's probably going to have more than some fat ass that eats McDonald's every day and, is like a people of Walmart person. God bless them. No judgments. You're going to have a certain number of potent decisions and basically task switching, neural power, dopamine, serotonin to spend per day. And the reason discipline, consistency in these practices, writing, moving your body, eating well, getting sunlight, sleeping well, all the most basic shit that's all over the internet everywhere now and is trendy, it really works. Because then you have a bigger bank of those decisions. You have more bullets in the chamber. So you can take more shots. The more shots you take, the more likely you're at the target. And this compounds over time to the point where at some point you move from unconscious, you get to unconscious competence, but you move from conscious competence and figuring it out and bumbling. It's like conscious incompetence where you fucking suck and you're trying, and then conscious competence, and then subconscious and unconscious, where the more you do it, you hit a sweet spot and it becomes second nature, and you blink your eyes and you've blown past all your goals. You've hit your financial months and your targets. You have the most sexy, loving relationship with your wife or husband. You have the body and mind you want. You have the friend group and the network. And you just woke up one day and realized it. You weren't trying to get to a goal and put everything on that to where emotionally, good or bad, you crashed out when you didn't hit it, or you hit it and you felt nothing and you got really bummed out. This is kind of my philosophy and creative process when I work with people on how to maximize all this stuff, because it's not just lifestyle. It's not just sales and marketing, which, side note, on the sales side, everyone needs to be a salesman. Whether you work in an office, you're a solopreneur, you have a brand, you're a yoga teacher, you're a stay-at-home mom with an e-commerce site, Everyone has to learn sales. Sales are the art of persuasion and learning how to convince people and add value and create connection and network and relationships and being conversational and interesting and solving problems. That skill applies to everything in life. And there's some people that go as far to say, most businesses without sales are nothing. Because how do we create opportunities to add value and receive wealth? To give and get resources to create this like equivalent exchange. It's natural law, right? It's pretty incredible, y'all. So as we wind down here, clip that one, by the way. Hope you wrote some of this down. Re-listen this episode on 2x and kind of get some of these little pearls or nuggets that I'm kind of going all over the place. But my intention here was to give my creative philosophy, share some core first principles for a business person or someone who wants to monetize their hobby or their gift in a beautiful way that's in integrity and makes the world a better place. And side note, the best part about all this is you can have a lot of fun. To me, like this right now, what I'm doing, podcasting, most of my coaching, most of my, the men's work I do, I run a men's membership community. I'm going to be sharing a lot of AI resources, inviting people into that world. I would do all of that for free, and I did for years because I just love it. It's play to me. And this is that classic Alan Watts quote where you'll reach enlightenment, lowercase e, enlightenment, as in flow state, when you get paid and just do things because it feels like play to you, but it looks like work to someone else. I implore you to find that for yourself. No talking head on a podcast or Instagram or some bullshit YouTube video can tell that to you in such a way that it'll make sense. You have to do it yourself. You have to figure this out. No one can do it for you. This is between you and the creator or God. This is between you and your silence. And when no one's looking, it's between you and the canvas. It's between you and your laptop. It's between you and your journal and you and your own mind and heart. You have something to give. You have a gift. You have a superpower. I implore you. I challenge you. I encourage you to find it. And if you hate your job, if you don't like the people you're hanging out with, if you don't like where you live, change it. Bitching about it, complaining and whining does absolutely nothing. Worrying is praying to the devil or the negative aspect of life and gets nothing done. So please get off the bench, join the great minds and creatives of humanity and get onto the field, get into the arena, put a little dust on you, maybe a little blood, sweat, and tears. It's all going to be there. But when you get to the grave and your deathbed, and hopefully you're surrounded by loved ones, you'll know, I really went for it. I was creative. I left it all out on the field and I have no regrets. Love you guys. I really appreciate anyone who listened to this one all the way through. If you are interested in working together or you're like, holy shit, reach out to me. I do custom one-on-one packages. And again, I'm moving more into the business niche. I'm still going to be doing a lot of cool relationship stuff, but this is, I'm realizing, actually more impactful as a coach, mentor, teacher, whatever, than a lot of the stuff I've been doing, because a lot of it's just been stealth mode. I rarely talk about this, shockingly, online. And a lot of people will be like, huh, you coach business people and you do business coaching and creative coaching? Yeah. And I've been doing it for damn near 10 years. But I never talk about it for whatever reason. Maybe it's because I've never, in this season of life, I'm like this episode, I have a concrete vision, plan, and methodology that I'm finally ready to share. So there you have it, folks. Love a follow or subscribe wherever you're watching this. This show is available on Spotify and YouTube. You'll be seeing YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels. It'll be going other places. One of the best places to get my most up-to-date stuff is my Substack. So if you just search my name, Kevin Orosz Substack, everything's going to be in the show notes. But email list is the best because these damn algorithms, you may never see my shit, whereas you will see my email in your inbox. And these episodes, a lot of my resources, a lot of the offers I'm talking about, the communities is actually what I'm most excited about. I'm going to be creating whole communities around this. I have one on Facebook called The New Renaissance, which is a closed Facebook group. That's going to be getting a makeover and rebrand, but thinking a mile a minute here. Thank you for watching. A review means a lot. A comment down below means a lot. Do you think some of this is bullshit? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Hey, what was that book? What else would you suggest? Awesome. Shoot me a DM or email if you want to jam on anything. If you have a guest that you think would be amazing for this show, and I finally quit fanning the hammer on solo casts, we'll put some guests into the chamber. If you want to be a guest, let me know. No promises, though. You got to be interesting to me. I'm not just going to interview you. That was the old podcast. Appreciate y'all. Thank you. Go forth and create and build some cool shit. Boom.